All right, turning back to our Commitment 2022 coverage, we're keeping a close eye on the midterm election for you. And right now, we want to bring in NBC political analyst Chuck Todd from Meet the Press for some insight into election night. Chuck, thanks for joining us live. A lot of attention is on the balance of power in Congress. What are the races here in California we should be watching out for?
Well, for the most part, I would say almost every congressional race in Orange County these days. When you look, those have been the most competitive races overall. That's where Republicans did surprisingly well in 2020. They ended up getting back about half the seats they lost down there. So certainly, look, I'm looking at a couple of California races to see, can they hold up without a strong statewide ticket? And I say this, it's not as if Governor Newsom is somehow weak. It's just that he has not spent a lot of money. He has not used many resources. So there really isn't a massive statewide get out the vote effort. So I'm really curious, what does that do? Does Julia Brownley in the 26th district get caught? You know, that's a district Joe Biden carried by 20 points. He got nearly 60% of the overall vote there. But if Democratic turnout is not good, on Republican turnout is high, and there's every indication that we're going to see that in California because there really is no massive, I don't think sports gaming is getting people to the polls, since that's where most of the money's been spent on. So I'm looking at her. I'm looking at Katie Porter's seat down there as well. And if Democrats are doing better than expected, then, David Valadao in the Central Valley, who voted to impeach Trump, I thought that would make him probably unbeatable this cycle. But if he's going down, then that tells you maybe Democratic turnout was better than I thought.
Chuck, how long do you think we'll have to wait before we know results? What will tonight look like? What will we know tonight? What won't we know tonight?
Look, I think tonight we're going to be able to tell you which party is going to control the House. Okay, we won't be able to tell you the exact number of seats. But I think, we'll put it this way. If the Republicans are going to control the House, we'll know that tonight. If it is so narrow that we cannot confidently say the Republicans have won the House, then it might be Thanksgiving before we find out which party controls the House. But all of our indicators tonight seem to think, and on all the polling we've gotten our hands on and some of the early vote, we think we'll be able to tell you that. I don't think we're going to be able to project which party's in control of the Senate. But we might be able to know, for instance, is Georgia going to be a runoff or not? And if Georgia is something we know is going to be a runoff, well, that race isn't in December, and then that could be that runoff is going to be for majority, like it was 2 years ago. So I'm fairly confident we'll know which party's controlling the House tonight. I'm less confident we'll have an idea of where the Senate's going to head.
How reliable do you think the polls are, Chuck?
Well, so I read polls. I use polls differently. If you're looking to a poll for an accurate result, you're not using the poll correctly. Polls tell you, I look at it for trend lines. There's a lot of bad polling out there. People that spend their time on Real Clear Politics or 538, it's actually, I wouldn't recommend it. I think it ends up misleading people. Trying to put all that data in one and coming up with an average, it can end up misleading and create groupthink that just shouldn't exist. So, look, it's harder to poll now than ever. But I do think we demand too much out of a poll. All right? It isn't going to give you precision. That's what voting is for. A poll, when you look at it correctly, should at least give you an idea, oh, boy, it looks like Democrats are doing a little better this year. I use polling to sort of guide where I'm analyzing. I don't try to use polling to find the right answer.
Chuck Todd, thank you so much for your time. I know you got a long day ahead of you.
You got it.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right.